welcome you all in today's live session, today's orientation session for advanced audit and assurance. I would again request your acknowledgement. If you can please once again confirm me, I'm clearly audible and visible to all of you so that we can start our proceedings of the session. I hope every one of you is doing great. Every one of you are gearing up yourself for the upcoming September 2023 attempt. Well, before starting the proceedings of the session, let me introduce myself. Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. I will be your facilitator for this course of Advanced Audit and Assurance for September 2023 and onwards batches. My name is Munir Shafi. And I have been teaching this subject since quite long. Okay. My brief profile is out there on your screens. I'm tutor for the subjects of AAA and SBR, AAA and SBR specialist with more than 9 years of teaching experience. I not only teach ACCA students, I also teach CA students of ICAP, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, and I teach taxation there. So these are my core areas of expertise, core areas of interest in which I try my best to share my experiences, to share my insights, and to enrich my students in these subjects from academic perspective, from professional perspective, from practical perspective, from all sides. Well, I myself am practicing auditor. I'm partner at HM Chartered Accountants, my own firm. I'm a fellow member of ACCA, fellow and practicing member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. I'm also a qualified person responsible for training of ICAW trainees in my firm. I'm currently also serving, and I have also been part of various technical and professional committees of ICAP and ACCA Pakistan. I started my career with KPMG Pakistan, and then I served more than 5 years in industry, and now I am in practice, and I'm practicing taxation, I'm practicing audit, and these are my core areas in which I'm working day in and day out. So I'll try my level best to enrich you in all the aspects, in all the areas which are necessary for your practical professional acceleration alongside your academic success. I also given my contact information for any one of you to contact me. I would be more happy to assist you in respect of any guidance, any suggestions, any mentoring. And I encourage my students to do so, because every step which you take with the guidance of the professional specialists, experienced tutor, is likely to lead towards success. Well, the session agenda, the brief session agenda is on your screens. I hope my screen is also visible to all of you. Everyone out there, can you please acknowledge me? Time and again, I ask for the acknowledgement so that I can also have solace that every one of you is live and awake, attentive as well. Great. So in this session, we'll be discussing about AAA, what AAA is, what's the importance of, what is the importance of this AAA paper amongst all professional skill papers? Because many students keep on asking, which optional papers should you go for? Why AAA? I'll be throwing some light on it. Then we'll be discussing about the syllabus. We'll be having a thorough overview of the syllabus as well. We'll be looking at paper patterns in key areas. Passing ratio of this subject, a bit horrible, and the students get scared of this passing ratio. Students tend to scare of this passing ratio. I'll thoroughly dig out the reasons of this poor passing ratio, and I'll let you know what's the key secret or key, I should say, secret sauce to have this paper grabbed in your kitty. Professional skill marks. We all know that since last year, the professional skill marks have been introduced in this examination, and there are 20 professional marks. What are these professional marks? How are we going to target these professional marks? Are these easy to get or are these difficult to get? We'll have a look at it. Then we'll also dig out about the reasons of failure. We'll also discuss about what do we mean by exam technique, and I'll show you what exam technique is, and I'll show you how important it is to have a full grip over this exam technique in order to have the success in AAA. And I'll show you that this is the reason why the students fail this exam. Because until and unless you master the exam technique and until and unless you practice it aggressively, rigorously, you cannot obtain full professional marks, and you cannot provide enough technical content in your answers to grab the available marks. And these exam techniques, I call these exam techniques magical tools to unlock your success. And these will surely unlock your success. We'll talk about our teaching methodology, how we'll be going to proceed in this course, what I'll be offering you, how I'll be supporting you. And mind my words, your success is my success. And I'll try my level best to make sure that you succeed this examination by the grace of Allah. Okay. And then last but not the least, we'll be discussing about the session planner, how are you going to proceed, what about live classes, because I'll be covering this course through live classes so that I can keep track of your progress, so that you can keep yourself on track, so that you do not lag behind. Because what happens when students go on the recorded content, when the students keep when the students opt for the recorded track, sometimes they look at the lecture, sometimes they miss the lecture. And this is the reason why the lectures keep on piling up. And what happens? One fine morning, you wake up and you see, oh, such a long list of lectures which I need to cover. Okay, I'll cover some later day. And that later day doesn't come any day before exam. Okay, so we will have a look at it, how to go through. Well, first of all, I'll be talking about the syllabus of AAA. Very, very important discussion coming out your way. What is in it? What is AAA all about? Okay, but before moving on to that, one objective about AAA and its importance. First of all, its importance, and then we'll move on to the course outline. AAA, why this paper is the most important, or why do we place a lot of emphasis on this paper? Why not other professional papers? Okay, I am not demeaning any other professional paper by any means. With due respect, all professional papers are of top-notch level, and all professional papers enrich you with a required set of skills in that particular respective area. So with due respect to all other professional skill papers, I would simply highlight a few key differences which makes this paper stand out. And what are these differences? Number one, if you talk about AAA, Advanced Audit and Assurance, you are doing ACCA. And you should know that ACCA is Audit Supervisory Body. And ACCA qualification is primarily audit qualification. This certification is primarily audit certification. Are you getting this? So many of you, or many of the ACCA aspirants who are aiming their qualification, who are aiming their certification, they are having plans to exceed. They are having plans to progress in the field of audit and assurance. And chartered accountant is deemed to be an auditor. By default, the chartered accountant is an auditor. Okay. And the subject of audit basically inculcates such professional skills, such critical analysis, such critical thinking, which will not help you as an auditor only, which will help you as an accountant as well. Because wherever you go, you may be a CFO down the line after 4 or 5 years, or might be 10 years of a big company. But this is skill to look at the areas from critical analysis, from critical point of view, from critical mindset, from questioning mindset, from auditing perspective, will always keep you an edge ahead. So this auditing skills is not only for the auditors, but also for professional accountants. Are you getting this? Number 2. Through this subject, you can set your own audit practice. You can have audit practicing rights in UAE. You can have audit practicing rights in UK. You can have audit practicing rights in any other jurisdiction which allows ACC member to practice audit. And this is a tool. For example, I'm a practicing chartered accountant. I'm a practicing auditor. Here in Pakistan, a chartered accountant from Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan is allowed to practice. So I'm a practicing chartered accountant. I have this tool. I have this all important and all strong ammunition with me to progress in my field, to earn a lot, to excel a lot professionally in terms of financial value, everything else. Okay. So once again, ACCA is an audit certification, is an audit qualification. ACCA is an audit supervisory body. The students appearing in ACCA are aiming to be auditors. And this AAA is a very, very decent paper, technical paper. And I always say that this paper is such a professional paper, such a mature professional paper, which requires 3 key skills to excel in your examinations in your career. 3 key skills. You should have 3 skill sets to attempt to pass this paper. And all these skill sets are gradually developed by ACC through other papers. For example, number 1, you've already appeared for SBL. Most of you might have been. SBL for the right. Your writing skills are very professional, very mature writing skills. Presumably, I'm presuming, okay? Very important for AAA. Number 2, your accounting knowledge. You all have appeared for SBR. You all have already appeared for SBR, presumably. And you all know accounting standards. And you'll see how much important the role of accounting standards in AAA. At every step, you will need the help of accounting standards. At every step, you will be checked. You will be challenged about your accounting knowledge. Grab it. And I'll help you out, because I'm also the tutor of SBR. So I'll try my level best to not only inculcate auditing skills in you, I'll also try to enrich you from accounting perspective. So don't worry at all. Getting? And number 3, last but not the least, auditing skills, auditing knowledge, auditing standards. So these 3 skills in combination ensure your AAA success. Professional and mature writing skills, grip over accounting standards, reporting standards, and grip over auditing standards. Combining all 3, you're all set to go. Syllabus overview. Let's have a quick overview of the syllabus, and then we'll move on to how we'll proceed about this exam. Okay, so there are several learning objectives. This is a professional paper, and obviously we cannot adopt any restrictive approach, any selective approach, and we have to cover this subject holistically, thoroughly, from all possible aspects, from all possible angles. Are you getting this? So obviously, a thorough coverage from all areas is must. First of all, a first learning objective, regulatory environment on your screens, regulatory environment. So what will we be discussing in this learning objective? Although this is not very important from exam perspective, but still, okay, let me see if I can use my pen as well. Okay, so I'll give it 1 star. Not very important from exam perspective, but still I'll give it 1 star. Why? because obviously we need to cover this. We'll be discussing about the regulatory authorities. We'll be discussing about the audit regulators, those who regulates the audit profession. As for example, I told you ACCA is audit supervisory body. As for example, there are local statutory bodies who oversee the entire auditing process. Are you getting this? So who regulates this process? Because there have been scandals, there have been incidents where the auditors have issued wrong opinion, the audit work gone unchecked, unreviewed, unorganized, no checks and balances from the legal authorities, lawful authorities, and they have been disasters in terms of corporate failures. So we'll see who the audit regulators are. Money laundering, this is a topic which is relatively new for you because you haven't started this in your earlier examination of AA audit assurance. So we'll have a discussion what money laundering is, how is it actually executed, what is the problem, and what are the roles and responsibilities of the auditors. Other laws and regulations. We being auditors, if we are auditing any entity, we are assumed and we are supposed to have the knowledge of laws and regulations which are applicable on the entity. And why are we supposed to do so? Because until and unless we know those relevant laws and legislations, how are we supposed to identify the financial implications if the entity has non-complied, if the entity has been accused of non-compliance in any of the area? So we should know, okay, we should know the relevant laws and regulations, at least those which have financial impact on the statement of financial position, on the financial statements, okay? Then a very important learning objective, professional and ethical considerations. Professional and ethical considerations. And this, again, this is not a new learning objective for you. You have already started this professional and ethical consideration in your AA paper, audit and assurance paper. Here again, this learning objective is very, very important, examined at depth. What are we supposed to do so? Number one, we'll be recapping all the previous knowledge which we have gained in AA. Number two, we'll be developing advanced level concepts, whatever needed here for AAA. Number three, we'll develop exam technique of this area because that's very, very important. Until and unless you develop exam technique for professional and ethical consideration or any other area, it's very difficult to score the maximum marks. Getting? Very interesting area, very important area, and it features in every attempt. So obviously, we cannot risk focusing it any lesser. Fraud and error, you've already studied. It'll be a revision from your earlier studies, and it appears in examination, not that frequently, but it is still an important area. Professional liability, a new area for you. You haven't studied this in your earlier papers. And why this is important? This is actually important from practical perspective. For example, a chartered accountant like me who is in audit practice, I'm serving my clients. I'm giving services to my clients. I'm giving audit opinions to my clients. So don't you think that I'll be concerned about my professional liability? What is my liability? What if my opinion goes wrong? What if I found negligent in my audit work and the client sustains any loss as a result of that negligent opinion? What happens then? They might claim, they might sue me. To which extent I would be liable? I should know for the peace of my mind. What maximum liability I may be required to incur as per the laws and regulations and standards? How can I limit it? Very important. Very, very important. Quality and practice management, a very important area. And there have been changes in that from the last attempt, from the last syllabus. Earlier, this was a quality control standard, and then few additional aspects have been popped in. The standards have been revised, and now it's called quality management, ISQM, International Standards on Quality Management. Very important focus of the examiner. Examiner has also issued a technical article summarizing key aspects of ISQM. I'll also guide you which technical articles to cover, so don't worry about that. So quality management, firm-wide, engagement-wide. Very important. Advertising, tendering, obtaining professional work, and we all are accountants, we all are auditors, and auditing, or for suppose if I'm practicing, my firm is a professional venture. I'm here to earn through those assignments, obviously. So I'll be advertising my work, I'll be tendering proposals, I'll be quoting my fee. So what are the key aspects? What are the key factors behind all these elements, all these drivers? Because obviously one day, suppose if you are going to run your own firm, you should know all these aspects. You should know what are the key factors that you should keep in mind before advertising, how you should be tendering your work, how will you be selling your work, how will you be setting the fees so that you don't go in loss, the assignment doesn't go in loss? What are the fee arrangements which are allowed from standards perspective, from legal perspective? Should know everything, okay? Professional appointments, which assignment to accept, which to reject, why, what are the key considerations? Again, this is very, very important area, very, very important area. So again, I'll just mark it 3 stars. This is very, very important, especially this, and this again is very important. And within this area, this is important. This is important. Advertising, tendering, obtaining professional work, it doesn't come up that frequently. Planning and conduct of the audit. See, now this is the heart and soul of the AAA paper, heart and soul learning objective. Okay. Why I'm saying this is a heart and soul learning objective, because this is the actual conduct of the audit. Planning and conduct. So broadly speaking, there are 3 phases of audit: planning and risk assessment, conduct of the audit testing, gathering evidences, completion review, and reporting. 3 stages, broadly speaking, 3 stages: planning and risk assessment, audit testing, gathering evidences, completion review, and reporting. So 2 stages are covered in this learning objective: planning and risk assessment, conduct and performance of the audit, testing and gathering evidences. So this is the learning objective, very, very important learning objective. And I'm not wrong if I say that this makes around 50% of your exam paper. This makes around 50% of your exam paper. Very important. Question number 1 focuses on planning and risk assessment. We will see the breakdown of questions and which areas are targeted in which question. So don't go anywhere. A lot of interesting things are coming your way in this session. Very interesting analysis, very interesting, what should I say, resource I'll be sharing with you. Planning, materiality, and risk assessment. Very important area, risk assessment. And standards emphasizes a lot of importance on planning stage. Why? Because if any engagement is planned well, it is bound to be executed well. If you do not plan well, you cannot execute well. This goes true in every sphere of your life. You see yourself, you are preparing for AAA. What if you do not plan your preparation, or you do not plan your studies well? What will happen? Disaster. Planning is the key to success. If you will plan well, you will execute well. If you plan well, you will execute well. Getting? So planning, materiality, risk assessment, very important. How do we plan? How do we assess the risk? How do we smell the risk? How we spot the problematic areas and how we target those areas specifically? I'll teach you. Then the next step, evidence and testing. How we gather evidences, how we perform the procedures, what are the assertions, how we target those assertions. Very important area, very, very exam-focused area. Using the work of others. What do we mean by work of others? Who are others? By the way, who are others? Others may be the internal audit function. Other maybe the professional experts. You may be using the work of internal audit. How to use, what to use, when to use. Very important. Using the work of others. When to use the work of experts. How to use the work of experts. What are the key considerations? Because you are not the expert in every area. For example, you are not the expert of valuing pension obligations. You are not the expert of valuing financial instruments. You are not the experts of valuing land and building. Then what? You will take the help of the valuers. Okay. What are the key considerations? Very important. Group audits, another area which you haven't seen in your earlier studies. New for you, very important, exam focused. Most of the time, question number 1 it revolves around the group audit. It revolves around group audit considerations. Very important. And the most important thing which I would like to tell you here, that this entire area revolves around your accounting concepts as well. Okay? Accounting concepts are key to success in this area. Every standard which you have studied in SBR, mind my words, can be tested here in this area. Any standard, every standard and any standard. Are we getting this? So we'll be recapping those standards. Very, very important. Very, very important. Now the students tend to get worried. What they think? The students think that they might be required to go into nitty-gritties of the accounting standards. They might be required to go in the nitty-gritties of the numbers. No. You are not supposed to go in the nitty-gritties of the numbers. No. You are required to recall the basic principles, the broad principles, very standard. Don't be scared. Don't get afraid. I'm here to help you out, and I'll ensure that you recall the necessary knowledge amongst all standards. And I've prepared for you summaries, I've prepared for you key areas of the accounting standards to help students out. Okay? Completion review and reporting. What is that? Completion review and reporting. As I told you, third and the last phase. Completion, review, and reporting. Okay. And in this, you'll be discussing about subsequent events, going concern problems. Now, this is the checklist when we are completing an audit, and we need to see all these areas, all the requirements of these areas have been complied with or not. Very key aspects. Subsequent events. Are there any events after the reporting period which may require adjustment, which may require disclosure? Any going concern implications? Any doubts about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern? Because as we know, that if this going concern assumption changes, no matter it's a post-balance sheet event, a post-period and event, it's still an adjusting event. Most of you, I hope you can recall from your accounting knowledge. Okay? Auditor's report. Very, very important area. Very, very important area. Auditor's report. Reporting. Opinion. Types of opinion. Types of additional paras. What is a qualified opinion? What is an adverse opinion? What is a disclaimer? What is merge para? What is other info para? A very interesting discussion. We will be discussing everything. We'll be practicing it a lot. Reports to those charged with governance. We are not only bound to report to the shareholders, we are also required to report to those charged with governance, the audit committee, the non-executive directors. And how do we do so? And what do we report? We'll discuss about it. And you know this, the board letter, the management letters, the weaknesses, and not only the weaknesses, not only the control weaknesses, but any other important thing, any other event, significant event of audit importance gets communicated to those charged with governance. I'll show you the details, and we will discuss this in detail as well. Other assignments, a very interesting area. Again, This is new for you. You haven't studied this area in your earlier studies. You haven't studied this in your earlier studies. So this again is an area of interest and the area of focus for the examiner. We will see suppose if I run an audit firm, So do I provide only audit services? Answer is no. We provide a range of services. Almost all these services which are mentioned here, and even few additional services. Are you getting this? So audit related services, assurance services. We will see how many assurance services are there. And do we provide only assurance services, or are there other types of audit related services? For example, attestation services, agreed upon procedures. What are these? When are these executed? I'll tell you, don't worry. Specific assignments, due diligence assignments. For example, company A is looking to acquire company B. Now, company A needs the help in taking this decision. So the company A approaches you as a professional services firm to help them out in taking this decision, to evaluate this as a potential target and whether it is a good go to acquire this company or not. Review of interim financial information. So you might all be aware of the IAS 34. Interim financial information, the accounting standard, interim financial information, IAS 34. What happens? When entity prepares that interim information, auditor reviews that information. That information is not audited, it's reviewed. Now, what's the difference between the review and the audit? What are the key factors underpinning the review? I'll show you. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss at length. What's the difference when a review opinion is issued, in which circumstances, in which services? I'll tell you. Prospective financial information, future cash flows, future P&Ls, prospective financial information, cash flow forecasts, profit projections, reviewed by the auditor. How, when, which opinion issued, what are the responsibilities, what are the types of opinion? We'll be discussing it. Forensic, broad investigations. A fraud has taken place in a company. Perpetrators have forged a lot of money, or there have been embezzlement in cash expenses, for example. And the CEO has approached you, dear Mr. Auditor, dear professional services firm, we need your services, we need your help in investigating this fraud, this potential fraud. We need your forensics expertise. Will you help us out? We'll see what are the considerations. We'll see when can we help and when we can't. Auditor performance information in public sector, we'll be looking at it. Social environmental concerns, social environmental integrated reporting, burning issue, hot topic, current issue, examiner focuses this. There are technical articles available on this. We'll be discussing this. Other assignments. What are the reporting implications on other assignments? Which type of opinion we issue? Reporting on other assignments. Current issues and developments, we will have a look at it. What are the key trends and developments in the field of audit? Professional mark. Very important area. And I cannot cover the discussion in this short session because we have lots and lots of discussion over these professional marks, because these are 20 professional marks, 20 professional marks. 20% of your exam paper lies in here. And mind my words, it's free. You don't have to study anything additional to grab these marks. Whatever you have studied, you are just requested to study it properly. Whatever your tutor is telling you, just apply it properly. What I'm teaching you, what techniques I'm teaching you, how I'm teaching you to draft, just follow that. And if you're able to follow that properly, these professional skills are in your kitty automatically. You don't have to do a penny additional to grab these marks. Are you getting this? But the point is, You have to take the sessions comprehensively. Don't skip any session. Don't skip any practice session. Don't skip any lecture, conceptual lecture, because I'll be telling you at various places here, you can, by doing this, you can score professional marks. By doing this, you can score professional marks. By doing this, by writing this, you can score professional marks. So all that knowledge database will help you out in grabbing these professional marks to the maximum extent. Very important. And by the advent of these professional marks, by the introduction of these professional marks, this paper, I believe, has got easier for the students. Earlier, in 3, you had to write for 96 technical marks. Only there were 4 professional marks. Only 4. And now there are 20. So earlier you have to write for 96 marks in 3 hours and 15 minutes. And now you have to write only for 80 marks. You have to draft for only 80 technical marks. And if you have managed to draft for those 80 technical marks sensibly, so following your tutor's guidance, the 20 professional marks will be automatically in your kitty. And I'm not joking. I'll show you how. Communication. Okay, I'm simply giving you an overview of these. Communication. In the earlier format, the previous format, these were only 4 professional marks for communication. Those 4 marks still exist here, in which the marks are for primarily writing briefing note structure, writing headings for your answers, making bullet points, structure, sequence, clarity of expressions, conclusions, prioritizing risks, etc., etc. Long list. Using the relevant technical jargons, I'll show you how, I'll teach you how. Communication marks, part and parcel of what you study, what you write, what you practice. Analysis and evaluation. You will be given the numbers. You'll be given the technical, the details surrounding those numbers. You have to connect those. You have to analyze the numbers in light of the information given to you. Analyze those numbers. Don't look in isolation. Connect it with what you have been given in the passage. You have to evaluate. Give both sides of the picture, pros and cons, benefits, drawbacks. Give your conclusion. For example, a particular treatment is wrong. Why is it wrong? Give your arguments properly. You'll get these professional marks. Professional skepticism and judgment. Think from critical mindset, questioning mindset. Don't accept whatever is given to you in the question on the face of it. In technical terminology, we say, don't rely on things prima facie, on the face of it. Client might be trying to deceive you. They might be trying to detract you so that you don't identify the misstatements, so that you don't identify the adjustments, the fraudulent entries, the misstated entries, because they might have intentionally played with the numbers to manage the earnings. Getting commercial acumen, your business angle, your business knowledge, and where it comes into play when you're asked about business risks. Very upfront example, business risks. You are supposed to identify what are the business risks and how are these impacting the business. Then you are asked to propose controls. So when you are well versed with the business environment, when you know the ins and outs of the business, then only you will be able to suggest proper controls. I hope I'm able to give you a brief overview about this. Then comes employability and technology skills. What about this? This is nothing new, but what you have already been doing in the papers since inception of ACCA, CB platform. Attempting questions, accessing platform, writing your answers, using tools to write your answers and everything. So this is we'll be practicing from day one, inshallah. So don't worry about that. Okay, on your screen is the exam pattern. I would really appreciate if you can acknowledge that exam pattern is on your screens, so that I can also know that you are live and awake, which I hope so. Everyone, awaiting your signals. Everyone, I would request everyone, please. Great. So this is the exam pattern. This is the exam pattern which is on your screens. 3 questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3. 50, 25, 25. Question 1 is of 50 marks, 40 technical marks, 10 professional marks. Question 2, 25 marks, 20 technical, 5 professional. And same is the case with question number 3. Question number 1 will almost all the times, if you allow me, so I can have some water, please. Okay. So question number 1 will always be set at the planning stage. Like, as I told you, planning is a very important stage of the audit. If the audit is planned well, it's executed well. So planning stage, it could be a new client or existing client, okay? Let me use the pointer again. Planning stage. It could be a new client or existing client. And in question number 1, what you will be asked for, what you will be assessed for, most of the time you'll see these areas in question number 1. Most of the time, almost all times. These areas. What are these areas? Business risk, audit risk, ethical professional matters, procedures and evidence, most of the time. And I call these technique-based areas. Why I call them technique-based area? Why I'm calling these technique-based areas? Because there is a specific technique. I'll show you, just coming in the slides to come. I'll show you that there is a specific technique to address these areas. There is a specific technique approach these areas. Until and unless you are proficient on that technique, you cannot target this to perfection. You cannot target this to perfection. I'll teach you what the technique is. I'll teach you how to apply it. And you need to practice it. Maximum practice. And you'll be all ready to get, set, go. I'll show you what are the techniques. I'll show you sample techniques. So risk assessment, business risk. So when I say technique-based areas, so these are the technique-based areas for which we have specific techniques in place. If you follow that technique, if you follow that thought process, if you follow that pattern to solve the answer, you are through. The next question usually will be question 2, question 3. Completion, review, and reporting phase, in which you'll see a question on audit reporting, implications on audit report, reporting. Again, you may be asked about procedures and evidence. In question 1, you can also be asked. In question 2, you can also be asked about this. Ethical and professional matters. It could be tested in question 1, it could be tested in question 2. No restriction, no hard and fast rule. The only rule which you should keep in mind, the technique. Whether it's coming in part A, question 1, whether it's coming in question 2, you shouldn't be worried. You know how to tackle it. You know how to target. You know how to nail it down. What's the worry? Getting it? Question 3, usually about other assignments. As I told you, due diligence, forensics, and BFI, and etc. Current issues may be tested. Other open-ended questions may be tested. Again, here also ethics may play its role, and acceptance considerations. Very important part. Examiner is targeting this requirement in every attempt, or at least every alternative attempt. So you cannot risk losing it. Get it? Procedures. Now here the procedures will be targeted, aimed towards the non-audit assignments. If you're performing forensics, which procedures you will follow? If you're performing due diligence, PFI exercise, what procedures you will adopt and follow. Important. Knowledge areas are not tested usually, but obviously as part of technical article, there could be any knowledge related element. So these are the important points which I've made. Ethical requirements can feature in any question. Audit and other procedures can feature in any question. Other standards requirements are also tested periodically. And this is just an indicative grid. Selective studies are highly discouraged. Now I'll show you a sheet. You should stay with me. I'll show you a sheet. Okay. I hope this Excel sheet is on your screens. Dear students, I need your acknowledgement. Otherwise, I will not be able to know that you are able to see my screen. Dear students, okay. A very important analysis, just for the sake of your convenience and comfort level, I've made this analysis. Okay. Question 1, December 2022, September 22. So these are all the attempts. December 22, September 22, March, June 22, September 21, March, June 21, September, December 20, March 2019. So what I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to show you that the technique-based areas, which I have highlighted, those technique-based areas are repeating in every attempt. In every attempt, just hang on, please. In every attempt, these technique-based areas will be tested because these are the core areas. And once you master those techniques, you will grab the maximum marks. See, as I told you, question number 1, usually you are asked about business risk, audit risk. See, business risk, audit risk, business risk, audit risk, business risk, audit risk, audit risk. I told you, planning the engagement, business risk, audit risk, audit risk. A question number 1 will always feature audit risk. So don't worry about that. You should be very strong in audit risk. See, audit procedures, audit procedures, audit procedures, audit procedures, ethical considerations, audit procedures, ethical considerations. So once you are expert in the technique, application of the technique, be it any scenario, be it any industry, be it any situation, be it any standard, you know the technique. You simply should know the technique. For example, just an example, you know how to swim. Now, either you're swimming in a swimming pool or in a pond of water or in any lake. If you know swimming, you can swim. Okay. Matters to be considered, other assignments. The matters to be considered in prospective financial information, as I told you, matters to be considered in acceptance. Okay. PFI procedures, non-audit assignments procedures, PFI procedures, matters to be considered in PFI, matters to be considered in PFI procedures. So PFI is very important. Examiner likes this a lot. Quality management issues, as I told you. audit reporting implication, matters to be considered in audit evidence, audit reporting implication, audit reporting implications, audit reporting, subsequent events and audit procedures, audit evidences. And you can go behind as well. This analysis, I'll share this analysis with you. The point to focus here is this. Technique-based areas. Every question will have this. So what we have in place, we have in place techniques for every area. I have made these techniques for every area. These are the techniques for every area. If you follow this technique, if you follow this thought process, you're not going to lose the sight of even half a mark. Getting? For example, you first of all need to identify the threat. You need to explain why is it a threat. You need to evaluate the significance of a threat. Is it significant? It's not significant. What are the factors underpinning the significance? What actions you will take? What marks ethical and professional considerations? If a question asks for ethical and professional consideration, what is the thought process you should be running? What is the list you should be checking? What is the thought process you will be running? So this is the list which you will be applying. Business risk. There is a technique for the business risk. Marking scheme, very important. What to write, how to write. Business risk. And I'll show you how to draft as per that technique. Are you getting this? Similarly, the technique for audit risk, 6-step technique, 6 steps technique, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need to understand these 6 steps and then you need to apply these 6 steps. You will not lose even a single mark in your audit risks, inshallah. I'll tell you how to apply this. I'll tell you how to master this. Another thing, which I was telling you, acceptance considerations. See, this is the technique for acceptance consideration. If you can master this technique, I'll teach you how to master it. I'll teach you how to apply this in the questions. You will never lose your marks. With the marking scheme, if this is an audit-related consideration for acceptance, it'll be 2 marks per point. If it's a non-audit related, it'll be 1 mark per point. Okay, So this is the technique. If you can recall this list for audit-related acceptance considerations, if you can recall this list for non-audit related consideration, then you can search for these pointers in the given content and you will never lose any relevant consideration ever when you're attempting the question. Are you getting this? So I'll teach you how you can apply this in any given scenario, and you are likely to succeed in identifying almost all the given pointers in the scenario. Okay, so these techniques, matters and evidence question, matters to consider. Which area is misstated? Identify the relevant accounting rules governing the scenario. Apply the above rules. Calculate and assess materiality. If the client has done materially wrong, what's the impact on report? Whether the sufficient appropriate audit evidence has been obtained. Any other consideration? Professional skepticism, sample size, sufficient procedures appropriate in the circumstances, relevant procedures, targeting the assumptions. If you can recall this, if you can apply this to the scenario, if you are trained to apply this in the scenario, you are through, inshallah. Okay. So having said that, these are the techniques, very, very important techniques. You need to master it. Now, why the students fail? When it's so simple. When we know what's coming up in the paper, when we know which areas are tested, when we know what's important and what not, when we know what's the exam technique, when we know how to apply. Why do we fail? Selective studies. Don't do selective studies. Cover it thoroughly, cover it holistically. Accounting standards, very important. I'll try to recap all the relevant accounting standards and their relevant requirements. Alhamdulillah, I'll be able to help you better in this area because I myself am SBR tutor. Lack of paper technique. I'll demonstrate how all these techniques are applied in the question, how all these techniques are applied in the question, and how you'll be fetching the marks out of it. Lack of practice. Now that's on you. The more you practice, the more proficient you will get. Poor answer planning. I'll tell you how to plan the answer. 1/4 time should be spent in planning. 1/4 time, 25% of the time should be spent in planning. I'll show you how. What are the planning pointers? How will you be drafting it? How will you be planning it? I'm here to help you out. Poor writing skills. You have to work a lot. You have to improve your writing skills. You have to improve your typing speed. You have to adapt the mindset or role given as per the examiner, as per the question. You have to properly understand the requirement, comprehend the requirement. There are breakdowns of the requirement. It simply gives an impression in the first sight that this is one requirement, but when you dissect it, but when you make it post-mortem, you see that there are multiple requirements joined into the question. Segregate those and attempt it separately. Tack it separately, attempt it separately. Failure to understand marking is key. Very important. I have concised marking scheme with every area. I'll show you how you go for that. Unable to comprehend issues. You need to comprehend issues properly. You have to identify, pick the issues properly. That comes through practice. That comes through proper knowledge. It comes through regular classes. Poor typing speed. Improve your typing speed. Otherwise, you will suffer. Poor time management. Overrunning on a specific part. You compromise other questions. You compromise other areas. Ignoring technical articles. Ignoring examiner reports. Technical articles gives you a highlight, gives you an indication what examiner is interested in. Don't leave it. Examiner reports. Examiner tells you where the students tend to do mistakes, tend to commit mistakes. Very important. Do read those examiner reports. I've already discussed about the ethical threats. Okay. Last but not the least, and then I'll be opening the forum for your questions. What will be our teaching methodology? How I will be supporting you, how I will be teaching you throughout this session. Okay, we'll be having 2 live classes per week. 2 live classes per week. And we will cover all the topics through the live sessions. All these classes, I would urge you to attend the live sessions so that things do not get piled up. Otherwise, students struggle. The lectures are accumulated, they pile up, and then students tend to start worrying. So better to attend live classes and avoid your time for the future, avoid your inconvenience for the future, so that you can utilize maximum time for your practice. You can be on track with a tutor. Obviously, these live sessions will be uploaded on the LMS as recorded sessions. You'll be having e-notes, whatever I'll teach you, slides, notes, I'll provide you. Exam-based testing app, you will have the access. Regular assignments, I'll giving you the assignments. I'll mark those in the live sessions. I'll discuss those in the live sessions. We'll be having a grand revision as well. There will be a WhatsApp support group for your queries, for your help. I'll provide you the latest study support material. Okay. Exam focused webinar just before the examinations. Tutor assistant support. Our assistants will be there to support you, your queries, admin related and other. Mock checking. I myself check the mock, and this is the most important thing which you should do. Because as per my experience, many students have passed just by attempting the mock. Because when they got to know what are their mistakes, what are their follies, what are their lackings, they overcame those lackings and they passed through. Mock, very important. And I strictly mark the mock. Strictly. Yes, these will be online live sessions. And live practice marathon. I'm shortly sharing the planner as well. I hope my screen is crystal clear. Okay, Burton, I recommend Kaplan. Okay, I recommend Kaplan because it's easy to cover. It's to the point, easily coverable, and easily digestible for the students. Okay, so these are live sessions. We are standing on 20. There's a bit of amendment in this. I'll amend it. There's a bit of amendment because it's 22nd today and we are having 22nd orientation on 22nd. So the days will be shifted a bit, but this is a tentative live planner, live sessions. We will be having sessions every Thursday and Saturday, not the upcoming Thursday because we will be having Eid and I'll be telling you the alternate day in which I'll be conducting the session. I'll communicate. If there is any change in the session, I'll keep on communicating. Suppose if there is any gazetted holiday, if there is any change in the schedule, I'll communicate it. But these are the live sessions twice a week. Okay. And then we'll be having 4-day AAA live revision and practice marathon from 17th to 20th August. Then 22nd August, we'll be having a final mock. 28th, we'll be having a result and mock debrief. Every live session will be of around 2.5 hours. 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Weekday sessions will start at 6:30 p.m. PST. Weekday sessions will be on Thursday. And that'll start on 6:30 p.m. As per Pakistan Standard Time, +5 GMT. Thursday. The weekday session is on Thursday. The dates are there. So it's Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. Okay. And weekend session, that means the Saturday session will be in 4:30 p.m. PST. Total course duration will be around 50 to 60 hours. And recording of live sessions will be made available at LMS within 2 working days. Are you getting this? Jihan. Inshallah. If you attend the live sessions and the practice is very important. Mock is very important. If you attempt the mock, if you get in mock, if you get to know your mistakes, you will definitely pass because your marks are not that far away from the passing boundary. Burton. Okay, I'm sharing the number, although I have already shared my number there on the slide. Okay, it's on your screens. My contact information. You can just text me and I'll place you in the relevant group. So this is my number. You can save it. You can text me. I'll add in the relevant group. I'll be sharing the links of live sessions in that group. Okay. You can attend the first few complimentary live sessions and then you can get yourself registered. No worries. You can text me and I'll share the link of the generic WhatsApp group. Getting? And the admin representative, you will also be in touch with the admin representative so you can get yourself enrolled in the course. Any other queries? You're most welcome to discuss any questions, any concerns, any queries. Most welcome. Okay, Amna. Well, it depends. You can text me directly. It depends on various factors. Okay, Burton, can you please text me? I've shared my number. Can you please text me on WhatsApp? And I'll add you to the group. Okay, it depends. Yes, you. Okay, let me respond one by one. First of all, Amna, yes, you can attend and yes, you can pass. But it depends on few factors. Suppose if you are in completely a full-time working role, then you're not able to take our proper time to take classes, to practice, then it may get difficult. But suppose if you can spare 2 hours a day even, that's enough for you to pass. 2 hours per day. Okay. Other than the live classes, 2 to 3 hours per day, you can pass this paper easily, inshallah. Okay. Burton, you can text me. I'll add you to the group. Inayatullah, will we be provided with the Word documented notes? I'll provide you the notes. I'll provide you the slides, annotated slides even, on which I have marked. So don't worry, those notes are not handwritten, obviously. And those will be the curriculum slides which I'll be sharing you, which I'll be teaching you. Okay, so don't worry about that. You'll be provided everything. So no worries. Any other question, or should I wrap up? Okay, few words just before leaving the session. Few last words. I'll request just a few minutes of your presence more. See, life is very short and time is very short. And we cannot waste our life and our time just by attempting it again and again and again and again and wasting our time and effort, our life. This paper for most of these students is the qualification decider. If you are determined, if you are committed, and if you realize this fact that your life is not a useless thing to waste on this paper, then you have to work your heart out and shut down this paper once for all in upcoming attempt. And mind my words, you can do this. You can nail this. Seriousness, dedication, determination, focus. That's it. I'm here to help you out. I'm here to facilitate you from all aspects, inshallah. Okay? But your commitment should be there. It is must. Your approach should be serious. You should be practicing it day in and day out. Your practice matters the most. No matter how good I teach, how good I deliver, how much I deliver, it will depend a lot on your self-practice. I'll give you the direction. I'll show you the path. I'll even push you to that path. But covering that way, covering that success lane is your duty, is your responsibility. Are you getting this? And I'm very, very hopeful that all my students sitting out there are determined to pass this paper. Lots and lots of best wishes and lots of prayers for all of you. May Allah Almighty bless you with flying colors. May Allah Almighty gives you lots and lots of success at every step of your life. And may we be able to help you out in that success. It will be our absolute pleasure. Thank you, students. Thank you very much for attending this session. Take care a lot. Best wishes for all of you. See you in the upcoming live session. Goodbye from your tutor. Bye-bye.